well, what if we let him mix it the way he wanted to mix it 20 years ago? That'd be kind of interesting.
Do you
remember how?
Huh?
Would you remember how?
Well, he wrote notes. He wrote a lot of notes for EQs and for, and he put these other instruments in, you know, so that we never let go onto the record. So it's like if he mixed it now, he would put those in, I'm sure.
So to his liking. What if you were to do it yourself? Do it.
Oh, that's second choice. I almost feel like I'd want to say, hey, well, you want to try to? I feel like he felt like at a certain point he realized that his job with us was just going to be like a guardian angel as opposed to being a guiding producer.
Mm-hmm. Well, that would a reissue of Are We Not Men.
But there's like downstairs, there are a couple thousand tapes downstairs because we used to every day write music, and starting in like some of the tapes downstairs are from '69, but they don't become DEVO related until '72. Is the earliest DEVO things I have. It was 6-step DEVO. But we wrote every day music, and we were recording it, you know, for 25, 26 years. So there's, you know, all of us together. So, so there's a ton of stuff. You know.
For the diehard DEVO fans, that sounds like gold.
Yeah, well, it could be interesting. There's all these songs like Hercules in the House of Mirrors, and it goes down to Ulysses floats down to Mesopotamia, and there's all these songs. We had periods where we went through, like there's this one period where we have all, I wrote all this stuff with like, I mixed mythological references with like Satan and I don't know what it was about. Fortunately, it never came out on a record. Somebody could find it interesting. There's like, and like all of our songs started off as oftentimes they start off as something else. Like Baby Doll originally was called Satan, and everywhere you hear Baby Doll is Satan. You look so good, you feel so big. I don't know why. It was like funny. It was just a funny joke when we were doing it. We were laughing because we were watching Mexican TV at the time. And we were watching all these great Mexican movies that we couldn't understand everything that was going on, you know. But they're beautiful and they're really intense, you know. And then I watched. I accidentally saw Whip It being danced to by a Mexican like. Soul Train kind of show, and these people had this choreography. They were doing all this weird movements, and I was like, wow, that's really strange. And so I started watching that show every week, and that's kind of what inspired Satan. And as a matter of fact, in Peekaboo, there were these Tijuana blacklight paintings of the devil with pills and. Mm-hmm. Hypodermic needles and cigarettes floating around their heads, and they're both laughing. And we had those animated for when we played live for the backdrop. Where we had this, we did this thing on that tour where we did live 3D videos where we were part of the video, and we did like the first, like 45 minutes of the show was this. The stage was only this deep, and we wore black, and we just had those white collars. So we were black silhouettes with a white collar and a head sitting on top of it, dancing in front of these backdrops where we went to all the different really good computer animation labs around LA and New York, and we had one song where the backdrop looked kind of like a battle zone, but it had a big 15-foot pirate who walked out on stage, Speed Racer, and a big 15-foot pirate walked out onto that reality and sang backups, and I'd turn around and sing to him, and he'd sing back to me, and a girl, a life-size woman came out and sang the Barbie doll lines, and I came out dressed as a doctor and sang on stage, and it was all perfectly timed, even though there was no such thing as MIDI back then. We worked out our own system, we devised our own system to sync up with film, where we put a click track on the film, and then Alan listened for 4 clicks and then knew he had to start the song, and he kept in time with that, and we all followed him. And so every night we were perfectly in time with these beautiful backdrops of really complex stuff of like robot girls dancing across the screen in a row during Out of Sync. And then when the one that was out of sync would show up and she was dancing wrong, the word Out of Sync would start, and like 8-foot-high letters above her head would be like flashing red, on a green-black backdrop. I could turn around and point a ray gun at her and shoot her, and she'd explode right on cue. It was really hot. And like the pirate pirate showed up on Peekaboo, and he chased us around the stage with a knife, a big sword, and like he ended up kicking us all in the ass. And
at the end of the video,
yeah, and it doesn't look so effective on the video, but live it was really hot. And he'd like kick us, and we'd all go falling across the stage one at a time. It was really funny, and it was a good tour. At the end of that part of the show, the first part of the show, we came out on stage and waved goodbye and levitated up about 8 feet into the air, and then we formed a shell made out of this computerized like graphic line, and then our bodies mutated back into the potatoes with the heads floating on them that we had when we started the show. We flew out on the screen. We flew out as the potato bodies and sang the beginning of Time Out for fun, and then those potatoes exploded and the lights came on and we were on stage. Because we really played the music, but we were in the dark for the first part while the film characters sang. And then at the end, we turned back into the potatoes and flew away.
And this is for the audience.
And it totally looked real. It was really great because we set the camera so we were life size when we came back on stage. It was pretty believable.
I would have loved to have seen that.
Yeah. We're actually thinking that if we, Jerry's probably told you that we're interested in doing another album and a tour. Or he didn't?
I haven't heard from Jerry. I've heard from Allison. I heard from Spud from Level 5 that it's like in the back of your mind that you want to.
We'll see how things go with Lollapalooza, but Lollapalooza is going to be totally stripped down. We'll use our suits and our choreography we used to use, and maybe probably put a red hat on, and Boogie Boy will probably come sing an encore, but other than that, there's going to be no show, really, no theatrical show. So, because we're going on in daylight, we can't really use film or anything, and there's not enough money. There's too few shows to amortize, like going ahead and building a big great set. So if this goes good, we get you can ask Allison, every week somebody calls up and offers us, to play somewhere, and we turn them down. We've been doing it for years, like 6 or 7 years. We turned down everything. Then we did the Sundance thing, and it was enjoyable. So now we'll see how this goes. But if I get what I want to do, and I've decided that I won't let anybody convince me that to do it anything less. I would want to go out and do what DEVO's version of the Kiss Big Serious Tour would be, where only instead of them, how they just do it kind of reproducing, pretty faithfully what they used to do and just making some of the flash pots a little bit bigger. We would actually take all the new technology that's come up between the time we, retired as touring with big shows, which was like 82, our last big show, I think. And we use the technology now, because we go watch other bands, we just go, man, everything sucks. I mean, look, they have these computers that can run all the lights. They have all this great equipment now that they didn't have when we were around. And they have all this great equipment, and people are not doing anything interesting with it. And so we would do it just to fuck with people and show them the best show they've ever seen. That would be our reason to go out again. And we'd probably revive, for 20 minutes of the show, we'd revive that 3D video thing. We'd bring that period back. It had some odd songs in it, like Big Mess. What else did we do in that thing? We did Peekaboo, and that's good. But that was a video. You saw the video, and that's pretty much what it looked like.
I Desire Pattern.
I don't think, did we do I Desire?
I Desire on DEVO.
I know, but I don't think we put it on that. I don't think we ever filmed anything for it. It's like the John Hinkley Jr. thing was a bad thing business-wise for us. Because although it was something that people did not get what that was about, and mean, we got threatening calls from the CIA and the FBI. People would just call up and they'd say, I work with the FBI. You know, when people find out that you wrote a song with John Hinkley Jr. and put it on a record, you're going to get, his fans are going to be your fans. He gets 100 death threats a week. And in truth, we did have people show up with guns. We had guns taken away from people at that tour.
What song was this for?
I Desire was, the lyrics were, 9/10 of them were written by John Hinckley Jr., the guy who shot Reagan.